Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Rock Shop with Ralph, your source for all things entertainment. My guest tonight is a guitarist and vocalist who's played with some of the biggest names in rock today. Let me throw these names at you. John Five, Charlie Benante, PJ Frehley, friend of the show, by the way, Chris Jericho. Holy shit, we got to talk about that. His latest project is the Kiss-sounding Klassik78 album, Phantoms. We've been trying to get this interview for a long time, but we got it done. Let's give it up for Mr. Joe McGinnis.
Thank you. Thank you.
What's up, Joe?
Hey, man. I'm glad we finally made this work. This is great. Great to be here.
Yes. We got it done finally. Yeah, so I rattled off those names. What have you been up to? I mean, what's going on with you as of today? You got any other projects you're going to throw at us, or can we just talk about the stuff we talked to before we came on the air?
Yeah, we could talk about whatever. Mainly the things that we discussed. Later on, I'll throw in a few Klassik78 Easter eggs for people to check out later. And but right now we can cover whatever we want. But I'm comfortable with anything.
Yeah, I know we're definitely going to cover that. I was just going to say you're going to throw me for a loop on anything else, because I'm going to throw the fans for a little bit of a loop towards the end of the interview on what you do. But
okay, well, if you want to know something that we worked on recently, I'm not sure if you ever heard of the band Lordi.
Yes,
from Finland. They were managed by Bill Aucoin. About 10 years ago, or whenever, right before Bill died.
Yeah,
he was managing this. Yeah, sadly, we were working with this band Lordi recently. So they did an album that was really cool. It was kind of like a Klassik78 kind of vibe. Very early Kiss inspired song. So you guys can go check out the Lordi box set. I think it's called Lordiversity. And you'll hear our voices and whatnot on there. It's pretty cool.
Awesome. So I got to say how I got into Joe McGinnis, because I'm a big YouTube guy. I'm always watching YouTube videos and all kinds of stuff. I come across, there's no band name. It's just called Mr. Speed. And I'm looking, and you see these four guys wearing Kiss masks. They're actually hats. I have one of the hats. I have the Gene Simmons. It's a pullover hat for the winter where the eyes go through, and they have faces. They have Gene, Paul, Peter, and Ace. And they're playing Mr. Speed to a fucking T. It sounded like Kiss 1976 all over again. And it turns out these four guys were Joe, PJ Frehley, John Five, and Charlie Benante from Anthrax. And you guys got to check this out, because if you want to hear the closest thing to Kiss that you're going to get, aside from Klassik78, by the way, that's you did that one. You did Mr. Speed, which was one of my favorite Kiss songs of all time. And you did All the Way, a Gene song and a Paul song. And you're Paul. So let's get to start with saying, how the hell did you know you sounded like Paul? And when did you start singing like Paul?
This Kiss music has been part of my life, almost my whole life. And, it's ingrained into my DNA and my genetics at this point. And I remember being a kid singing Paul Stanley songs and just kind of throwing in his Paul-isms and his thick New York accent. And
you don't have an accent. Come on.
I would just kind of pick up on the little nuances of what he was doing, and I never thought anything of it, and I never really took it that serious. I just, it was whatever. It was just kind of a casual, fun thing. And of course, in high school, it wasn't cool to be a Kiss fan when I was growing up, and so I never really brought it up. But sometime when I was around 19 or 20 years old, I put these rough demos on YouTube, and it was of me playing Tonight You Belong to Me from Paul's solo album, and 100,000 Years. And lo and behold, a few years later, Tom Higgins, my buddy in Klassik78, who also is the basically the right hand man, kind of odd job guy for the Aerosmith guys, huge Kiss fan. He reached out to me and wanted to do this project, and he was the Gene and Ace kind of sounding vocals, and I was the Paul stuff. And when he asked me, I'm thinking, what is he talking about? I don't sound that much but he said, you capture that spirit. It may not be identical, but it's a spirit that kind of, in that experience of listening to a Kiss record and hearing those similar voices. That's what we were shooting for, obviously. But yeah, it just kind of happened organically, and here we are. It's just nuts.
Now you did just those 2 songs with those guys, correct?
Yes, and those are on Charlie Benante's solo record that he released on Megaforce Records. You could get it on vinyl if you look online. Pretty cool.
Right. Now that I got to ask the next question, the inevitable question. You're working in the band Kuarantine with Chris Jericho, you, and his name is it Ken Sucher?
Kent Slucher.
Slucher. Damn it.
Yep.
That's one name I can't pronounce. I always try to pronounce it. I can't pronounce it.
I hear it. Yeah, he's one of my best friends, so I kind of have to know how to pronounce it.
And Charlie Para, right?
And Charlie Para, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So now this band Kuarantine does 80s Kiss. And this fucking, let me tell you, I'm a drummer. This Glenn Slucher, right? Did I say it right again?
Yeah, you're getting it.
Slucher?
Slucher, yeah.
Slucher, okay. Ken Slucher plays with Luke Bryan, a country artist, and this guy does double bass as well, if not better than Eric Carr, the way Eric Carr played it on the record. I listened to this guy, I'm like, holy fucking shit, this guy's fucking folks. And this guy in front of me and does Bruce Kulick. I'm like, holy crap. They're doing songs from, and people knock the 80s sounding Kiss. I don't. I love all Kiss. I mean, we know Kiss is the heyday. We're going to talk about with Klassik78 about the heyday. Sure. I love those. I love it. I think Asylum is an overlooked album where you play the song Love is a Deadly Weapon from. I mean, you're playing No, No, No. You're playing Heart of Chrome from Revenge, which is 90s anyway. But these are songs that, and wait a second, guys, people out there, Chris Jericho is singing, and Chris Jericho got pipes. He ain't just throwing guys around the ring and knocking the shit out of people. Chris Jericho can sing. I love the song Judas by Fozzy.
Oh, it's a great tune. Great tune.
Yeah.
But yeah, you should. I mean, I can't disclose which new tune that will be released. But man, this is his best vocal performance. And I mean that. Like, it is so good. I wish I could tell you guys more. But
you got to tell me something. Is it from the 80s or 90s?
It's from the late 80s. That's all I could tell you.
Oh, come on. Is it oh, man, late 80s. Is it from the Crazy Nights album?
Can't tell you any more than that. I was sworn to secrecy by
all right,
guys.
All right. I gotta tell you, Joe, I'm a huge, as you can see, I'm a huge Kiss fan, and I love those 80s fucking albums. People overlook them. Like an album like Asylum, man. You look at that, Love is a Deadly Weapon. I'm drawing a fucking blank. Who Wants to Be Lonely?
Oh man, so
fucking those things, those songs of the Gene part of it. That's when Gene was getting lost and he was out doing movies and all kinds of shit. But when Bruce Kulick came into the band, he gave it like a nice shot. And he's such an underrated guitarist, man.
He sure is. And he was always my favorite Kiss guitarist personally. And I think the reason why is he could do the bluesy stuff and he had so much feel in his overbends. His brother Bob as well, another great guitar player.
Yes.
But Bruce could,
Bob Kulick.
Yes. And Bruce could shred, or he can play, melodic and full of feeling. And that's what I think made him, my favorite personally.
Right. And
just that 80s stuff is just unbelievably cool. I mean, a lot of people, like you said, overlook it.
It's overlooked. And he's a Queens boy like me. They grew up in Jackson Heights, him and his brother.
That's right.
Yeah. I like I was telling you with these 80s albums, you'll get the Crazy Nights. Take Crazy Nights, for instance. A lot of people don't like it. There's too much keyboards. I love that album. I love Crazy Nights. Too. You know what I mean?
I think it might be my favorite non-makeup album, actually.
See, there you go. I think Crazy Nights is one of their best songs, which when I saw them on the End of the Road tour, they played that. They played it, and they still play it.
Yeah.
So tell me, how'd you how'd you get to meet Chris Jericho? We got to talk about Chris a little bit.
Yeah, well, Chris and I had mutual friends for years leading up to it, and never crossed paths up until the pandemic. I always heard through Kent, who was friends with him, and Charlie Benante, who I knew, prior to meeting Chris. And then Chris was actually one of the guys that heard about Klassik78 through Paul Stanley, because they're friends. And when I first met Chris and talked to him on the phone, he was like, dude, I got to tell you, the very first time I heard about you was at Paul Stanley's house. We were recording an interview with his show Talk is Jericho. And he said, after we got done recording, we walked over to the pinball machine, the Kiss pinball machine. Yeah, the only piece of Kiss merchandise Paul has in his house. And he pulled out right, that's right. Pulled out a Klassik78 CD. And that's the first time Chris ever heard of us. So he said, wow, and he told me the whole dialogue between the two of them. I just thought it was insane that Paul, said a lot of nice things and said he was a fan of us. And, he didn't have to say that, but he did. And to me, that's just like, okay, I'm done. I can sit back now.
You kind of segued into my next question, which was going to be, what do Paul and Gene think about this? Have you ever heard from them? Did they ever give you like a cease and desist order saying you can't do this, you can't do that, stop what you're doing or we're going to sue your pants? Because that's usually their MO.
Yeah, to a degree. The thing is, we run it awfully close to the bone, as they say, so we don't want to infringe on anyone. We just want to kind of pay tribute to, a sound that no one makes anymore. And we try to mimic it and get as close as possible. And the intent is obvious, when you listen to it. But, to be totally honest, nothing's going to touch what they ever did. But the least we could do is kind of pay tribute. And, that's what we're kind of aiming for. But Paul and Gene have been nothing but great. Gene said some nice things about us. They obviously thought enough of us where they contacted my partner Tom in Klassik78, and they used some songs on the A&E documentary, some tracks, that unreleased tracks that Tom was working on, and so they obviously are aware of it, and they've been nothing but kind and said nice things.
But you had to donate those tracks, right?
No, they actually. But see, the thing with music licensing is it's tricky, I
thought they could work around that. They've been around the block quite a few times.
Yeah, I think we'd all prefer to hear Kiss tracks on the official biography, but I don't even think they own their own recordings anymore. I think that belongs to Universal Music. So they're probably on it. A&E's on a budget. Of course, everyone's trying to save money in that sense. So they went and and found some stock footage for the footage, and found some similar music. The filler, I guess you can
right. They were saying, okay, we can't afford Kiss. Let's get the closest thing that sounds to Kiss. Who are these guys? I don't know. Let's throw them on there. We'll give them like $5 each. I'm not knocking them. I'm just saying how they were looking at it.
Trust me, yeah, they're business minded for sure.
Right. Have you ever met Gino Paul?
Of course, yeah. I met them both a few times.
Peter, Ace.
Met Peter. Peter was super kind. A lot of people rag on Peter about being, miserable sometimes, but I got to tell you, he took extra time to talk to me, and I was walking away, and he was still kind of chasing me down, saying, "Hey, man, let's finish." I was like, "Wow, that's super cool of him."
And this was who?
Peter.
Yeah.
Paul. The very first time I met Paul was backstage. Doc McGee gave my family and I his all access pass, and basically said, "Run around backstage." And this was at Saratoga Performing Arts Center in upstate New York. And we went back, and we got to meet the guys, and then I've met them numerous times since then. And
Now, this might be a stupid question, but I hope it isn't. Do they know you're the guy in Klassik78? Do they know that, or you're not even saying anything? Come on, Joe. Give me something,
really
Joe. Come on.
No, I honestly, I, it's been brought up. I know Keith LaRue. We've talked about it, and I really don't know. I couldn't tell you because I know they got a lot of shit going on. I'm sure that the last thing they're worried about is which guy is the one.
Yeah, who's that? Is that the guy doing? Is that the guy doing me?
Right.
Or is that the guy doing me? You do me very well.
Yeah. So I really honestly couldn't tell you. I really don't know.
Right. Now, I gotta ask you this. Is it? I mean, do you when you're, let's say when you're recording something, especially for Chris with Chris, do you go and do you look at all of Ace's or Bruce's rig, what he uses, his pedals, everything, and you get that sound, or you have it in your ear and you know exactly what you're using? Maybe a little bit too technical of a question.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
The funny story is, over this whole thing, I've become pretty close with Bruce, and we talk.
And he'll tell you what he's using.
Yes. So one time I asked him, I said, "Hey, just out of curiosity, what did you use on the Asylum record when we did Love's a Deadly Weapon?" Right. And he said, "Hang on."
Which is my favorite. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I got to tell you this, though, which is my favorite Kuarantine track thus far.
Oh, cool. But it's such a cool.
Oh my God.
Tune, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I asked him what he used, and he gave me the whole rundown. Bruce is a guitar geek just like me, so he's like, I had EMGs for pickups, but I changed them out to Seymour Duncan pickups, and I'm like, this is awesome. He's
telling you what to use.
Yeah, and so I kind of based my thing there, But then I have Chris saying, okay, well, let's make this a little bit more modernized, a little bit heavier, give it our own kind of vibe. So I have to find an in between, kind of stay faithful to the song, but at the same time try to, bring it to a more contemporary vibe.
Gotcha.
Heavier.
Now, as far as Kuarantine, Chris is the lead singer. Who chooses the songs? Who picks them?
We all do, believe it or not. We usually give him the final judgment because he's the one. Because this whole thing started with Kent and I just kind of saying, "Why don't we just do some?"
Kent Slucher.
Yes, Kent Slucher. Yeah,
there you go.
Saying, "Why don't we just do some Kiss covers?" So this just would have maybe had 10 views on YouTube if Chris and PJ and didn't hop on board. So we really kind of work as a democracy in that sense, where everyone will, in our group chats or whatever, however we're talking that day, everyone will throw out their ideas. I think we should do this. I think we should do that. And, and usually the consistency, someone says, I want to do this one, and it comes up multiple times, it gets seriously considered. And then it kind of goes into
a second level.
Right. So then it gets tossed in. But the one thing that you could always count on from us, and Chris has been very vocal about too, is we always want to do a deep cut. We never want to.
You don't want to do the mainstream one.
We don't do singles. We'll play singles live, but we want to release the gems that no one has ever heard before. Like the average Kiss fan,
right? Well,
the average public.
The crazy Kiss fan is going to know them. And by the way, I got to mention friend of the show who's been on here, PJ, Jersey native, my boy, plays his ass off on those records. What a great gene. I mean, this is PJ Farley we're talking about, from Trickster and Eric Martin. I interviewed the whole Eric Martin band. He was part of it. But what a great job he's doing about it. And fans, when you watch the Love is the Deadly Weapon video, I love this. In the beginning, when Joe's doing his whole solo, Chris is there. He's all of a sudden he's reading the book. Then he's brushing his teeth as Joe is soloing. I mean, it's kind of funny, but and it's exciting all at once, because I'm like, wow, you're right, such a deep track, and to do it to a T, it's fucking awesome, man. What a great band.
Thanks, dude.
And I gotta mention, by the way, you guys are playing the Creatures Fest.
We are.
Which I would give my left nut to see. I wish they were coming around New York.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of people saying, please come here, please come there, and I think what's going to happen is Chris is, obviously very excited to be doing this, and he doesn't need to do this at this point in his career. We both kind of know that he's he's definitely made it his name for himself and his his fortune and whatnot. So he doesn't need to be. This is just a fun project, and boy, he just has a blast. And of course, Fozzie's his big commercially kind of juggernaut
Successful.
Right. That's they've done well, but this is kind of a passion project that still kind of grew legs, and now this will be our third gig. Our third gig.
2 questions I have about that, and we're gonna move on.
Sure.
The first thing is, well, it's not a question. On this bill, wait, listen to this, guys. You got Ace Frehley, Vinnie Vincent, who I don't even think is gonna fucking show. Don't even get me started with him. I can tell you I can dedicate a whole show to that.
Right.
Bruce Kulick. Then you're gonna have Trickster, which is Steve and PJ, and Quiet Riot, and these guys Kuarantine. Now,
right.
if you guys only done 4 songs, how long are you gonna be on for the how long is your set? Excuse me.
I think our set's gonna be just a little bit over an hour.
Right, so you got to get some songs in there.
Right. Yeah. Well, we haven't discussed the exact set list. It's going to be similar to the stuff we probably did, prior on the other 2 gigs, like on the Jericho cruise and the Jericho Fest. Everything's Jericho this, Jericho that.
Yeah.
But
why wouldn't you use that name?
Right. It's so as of now, it sounds like it's going to be an hour 10, hour 15, set.
Cool. Can you, before we go to the next part of the interview, can you give us maybe a song or 2 that you're going to do? Or is that privileged information too?
I could give a couple that I know, we're obviously going to play No, No, No. We're going to play.
There's some of the new stuff.
Some newer stuff. Let's see. Like I said, when I said we don't do singles recorded, we
Deep
do
tracks
live. Right. Yeah. But live we'll do Lick It Up, Heaven's on Fire.
Oh, all right.
So we do that, because live's a whole different ball game. You got to kind of please everyone to a degree, but at the same time, we got a lot of deep tracks. But yeah, we'll be doing stuff like that, including the songs we've released. And like I said, we haven't fully discussed, so I can't put 110% confidence in knowing, because those guys, Chris could say, what, let's cut, last minute we cut Tears Are Falling from the set. So I don't know.
I got to tell you, I'm a singer. I sing in a cover band too. So
no kidding.
I got my moment here. I sang with some of the greats on my show. I sang with Mark Farner. I sang with Eric Martin. I sang with Johnny Gioeli. So I got to give you something. Maybe you'll take a hint on what song you should do next. Okay, you ready? Let's see if I can get this going. You ready, everybody?
Okay. Let's see. Heaven's on Fire. That's right.
There you go. At least you got it. Okay.
That's right.
That was pretty bad.
That was pretty good. That's a tough intro.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. So, guys, Kuarantine Creatures Fest, go and see them. That is May 27th and 28th. If I'm not, yes, 27th and 29th. Yep. But you could be playing on the 28th, correct?
Correct. Yep. That's the plan.
Great. Now, the elephant in the room, Klassik78. These guys, I got to tell everybody, if you want to get as close to Kiss's heyday from 74 to 78, Joe.
Yeah, that's kind of what we. Yeah,
that sound, you got to buy this CD. They have you have side 1 and side 2, and you have the new album out is called Phantoms. It's out on iTunes, which, by the way, you just had a #1 album with that, correct?
We did. It's hard to talk about this stuff without trying, because I'm certainly not someone to brag. But what I
hey, listen, you got to brag. You're on my show. I'm giving you accolades. You got to brag about it.
Right. Like Tom, Charlie, we all, kind of looked at this and said, holy cow, because we know how much allegiance Kiss fans have to that music, but sometimes you underestimate that. And when this was released, we're like, we might do pretty well, but never did we ever anticipate having the #1 rock record on iTunes for multiple days. And it stayed in the charts for a few weeks, so it was like, and then we were the Amazon I think it was #2 bestseller. You know, it's just like, that's crazy to me because it's just us kind of having fun with it. And next thing you know, you have, you know, Kiss fans getting behind us. And that to me is just, man, that's mind blowing.
Right.
But yeah, we're fortunate for sure.
I want to give the fans a synopsis. What Klassik78 is original music that sounds like Kiss's heyday from 74 to 78. You have Joe, who plays guitar and is Paul. You have Tom Higgins, who is Gene and plays bass. And you have some other guy playing drums on this record. I don't know, some newcomer. His name is what's his name? Charlie Benante. Anybody hear that guy? How the fuck did you get Charlie Benante?
Believe it or not, Charlie kind of came along.
Huge Kiss fan, Charlie, by the way.
Huge Kiss fan, especially 70s Kiss. That's his, you know, wheelhouse. That's what he loves.
Right.
But yeah, what happened is the first Klassik78 album was released, and Charlie wasn't part of that one, but he caught wind of it, and him and Eddie Trunk and Mike Portnoy and Joey Quesada, all these guys started tweeting and Facebooking about this new Klassik78 band. And Charlie, you know, at that time we didn't disclose any.
Yeah, we didn't know who you were. It was kind of like, ooh, it was like Kiss in the 70s. Nobody knew who you were.
We were trying to make that whole complete experience where everyone kind of felt, you know, the mystique of the music. And, you know, when you look at the artwork or whatever, and there's no faces on it, you're thinking, who the hell did this? You know, and there was a lot of speculation for a long time.
Right.
But yeah, long story short, Charlie basically, you know, tracked me down. I don't know how, but next thing you know, I'm getting a friend request from Charlie Benante. And at first I'm like, this has got to be a fake account, you know, this.
Yeah.
And it was funny. He just kind of reached out and said, hey man, love what you're doing. We hit it off. We're talking, you know, we were talking all the time at that point. And then when our first drummer, Rory, was unable to do it, we thought of, you know, we threw around a couple ideas because we never thought that anyone like Charlie of his status, you know, a metal Hall of Famer, pretty much we call him, you know, it's like would have that kind of time to put into this. But so we toyed around with the idea of let's get a bunch of drummers to kind of guest appear. You know, we could get Mike Portnoy, Joey Quesada, but when I talked to Charlie, I went to see Anthrax on tour because Charlie invited me, and I went and we talked backstage, and I mentioned that idea. He said, no, I want to do them all. I want to do all the tracks. And I said, okay, let me talk to Tom, but I'm pretty sure he's got to
agree to do it.
Right. And that was the case. Charlie said yes. And he really dove in and gave like 110%. He mic'd up his kit, used the same style drum heads.
Right.
I mean, he went all out, you know?
Yeah. I want to keep it with the current album. I'll talk about a little bit about the previous album. What I loved about that album as well was you guys came out with a commercial. They came out with a commercial like it was that was great. That was great from the 70s. Like you're watching TV during Don Kirshner's rock concert, and a commercial comes on for Klassik78. It seems like it was in the 70s when it came out. That was fucking awesome. Whose idea was that?
That was Tom. See, Tom grew up in that era. I was a little bit younger than him. I was born in 83. So
I was born in 70, so he's probably my age.
Right. So he was able to, you know, experience all that mystique in the TV commercials and Kiss meets the Phantom on TV.
Yeah, yeah.
And, you know, like for him, that was a huge thing. And I totally get it, you know, because I even grew up in a time when there was no internet and you had to wait. You know, I remember having the solo albums. And my brother had them, but there was no pictures of them without makeup. So I even had that.
You were wondering what they were.
Yeah. So yeah, I kind of wondered who the heck they were, and so I kind of lived that to a certain degree, you know.
Right. Well, the name of the album is called Phantoms. I was a little taken aback by the name. You know, I was like, I couldn't correlate how Phantoms went with the songs. Is there a song Phantoms, you know? And then I got the digital download. There was no song Phantoms. But anyway, I got to say, with Charlie's playing, I mean, he has Peter down to a T. We know yes. You sound just like Paul. We know Tom sounds like Gene, without a doubt. We knew that from the previous album. but I got to talk about the drumming on this album because the snare sound even sounds like Peter's snare. Like, I'm a drummer and I know different sounds, different nuances, the way you mic drums and stuff like that. This fucking Charlie, he's got it. I mean, I'm telling you, if that wasn't Peter circa 1976, I don't know who's going to get that sound. This sounds just like Peter. Even the cowbell sound, the way Peter plays the cowbell.
He wasn't messing around. So I mixed some of the album, and when I got his drum tracks, he had, I swear there was 20 microphones on that thing because I got the imports to my files, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm going to be here all day importing these drum tracks.
Right.
Because he had a hallway, a stairwell mic. I mean, you name it, he mic'd it. But then on top of that, the tuning of the drums, he did it in 2 sessions, and man, did he nail it, you know?
Right. That's how what Eddie Kramer did. I mean, I know he had Peter play in the bathroom. Oh, I'm sorry, that was Ezrin. Bob Ezrin did that. He had Peter play in the bathroom on Detroit Rock City. You know,
something like that.
Something like that. With
an elevator shaft open.
Yeah.
There was some weird story about that.
We get the sound. So let's talk about the songs on Phantoms. You know, I gotta say this. My favorite song on the album is Living Fantasy. That's my favorite song. Okay. That's Paul at his heyday. Okay. But I gotta ask this one question on this one song. Smoke and Mirrors. That sounds like Ace. Right?
Yeah.
Who is there a different guy singing?
No, that's Tom as well. That's
Tom sings Ace as well. Holy
he
shit!
Does. Yep. Yeah, Tom's incredible, man. And Tom does a lot of the writing. And I was just talking about this to someone the other day. Just the double entendre of Smoke and Mirrors.
Right. That's Ace. There
you
go.
could totally see Ace doing that on a 78 song album,
right?
You know,
Right.
But yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. Just to clarify, yeah, he does the Ace and Gene. So
he does Ace and Gene, and I'm telling you, he does my limousine is awaiting, and I see you coming my way. Hey. He does it
stuff.
Fucking perfect. I mean, I can't, as a Kiss fan, a diehard Kiss fan, which you can see. I mean, I'm like, this is fucking Kiss without being Kiss, and every fan out there has to go out and get these albums. They're out available all on Amazon, correct? Side 1 and 2 is available on Amazon.
Yep, Amazon, iTunes. There's no streaming. It's just strictly downloads.
Right. But the CD just came out.
Yes, the CD is available, and I'm not sure if you knew this or not, but there's going to be a vinyl release later this year, and that will have a bonus track on it, a very, very cool one. And man, I think it's gonna get the Kiss fans really reeling.
Cool. Couple more songs I want to talk about from the album. I'm trying to give the fans an idea on what you're gonna listen to, what it's gonna sound like. There's a track called "What You Gonna Do." To me, that sounds almost like Almost Human. Sort of Almost Human to me. The ending track, "Rock and Roll Over," is the name of the song, believe it or not. And that's Ladies' Room to a T. That sounds along the lines of Ladies' Room. What I want to ask is, do you, when Tom is writing the song, or I don't know if you're doing any of the writing, do you say, I want a song to sound like, Plaster Caster or Christine 16? Let's try to write something like that. Or you just write it and that's how it comes out?
I got to give credit. Tom is an excellent writer. And he does, like I said, a majority. I have some writing credits on the album too. But Tom, I mean, we all kind of put our little bit of input, but the core of the song, Tom really pours himself into. And when he'll write a song like Fever Dream or Rock and Roll Over, he almost becomes, Gene Simmons in 1970, and like his terminology, everything he says. But a lot of it too is in the production. So like sometimes the guitar tones or something will kind of be reminiscent of a Love Gun era album or a Rock and Roll Over. Those tones kind of are very, distinct, and it kind of mess with your mind a little bit.
Right.
So yeah, that's another thing too. Sometimes the production or a little bit of a feel of a song kind of poured in, because a lot of times Charlie will say, I kind of want to make What You Gonna Do sound like Larger Than Life meets whatever, but there's, it's definitely calculated to a degree, but sometimes we just let it go where it wants to go on its own.
Right. Well, I'm lobbying for it. I have to tell you this. You guys on the next album have to make it sound like Dress to Kill, because that Dress to Kill is my favorite Kiss album by far. The shortest Kiss album, but my favorite Kiss album.
Oh, it's a great album.
So I need you guys to come up with something that sounds sort of like Room Service,
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, but, that's probably one of my favorites. Off the first 3 albums, Room Service. Such a great tune.
Yes.
So we're constantly coming up with new ways to do this. There's talk of doing a live style album where we cut these songs in a live sound
with 4 new tracks alive too.
Correct. Yeah, actually that's been talked about too. And then what we do is we do the studio magic where we add the crowd and the bombs and make it really kind of with the stage wraps and everything.
Right. But how about this? You do a live 2, right? And you have 4 new tracks, but you have Bruce Kulick play on it instead of you.
Right. I know. Trust me.
And don't tell anybody.
I came up with the idea of doing an album called Covers with a K.
There you go.
Where we would do, say you wanted to do Saturday Night Special by Lynyrd Skynyrd, but make it sound like Gene singing.
Wow, that would be good.
You know what I'm saying? Like take songs that kind of almost reminded you of a Kiss song before, but then kind of produce it and use the voices and all the instrumentation.
Well, you better listen. I got some fans here. You better hope nobody's ripping you off right now. But imagine that you had, like people thought it was Ace playing on those albums, and it was Bob or Dick Wagner.
Right. Yeah.
Have you ever met Ace?
Ace is the only one from the original 4 I have not met. Unfortunately it just never worked out. I've come awful close to making it work, but every single time it seems like something comes up. And
I'm surprised because I'm so sorry to interrupt you again. That's just that's just the Italian in me. That's what I do. But anyway, I'm surprised because Charlie's from the Bronx and so is Ace. He's from the Yonkers Bronx area. And that's where Ace is from. And they Anthrax covered "Love All I Can" on the Kiss My Ass album.
I think it was She they did it on that.
Oh, album. I'm sorry. She.
But yeah, and they did Love Her All I Can for something else. It was a spare track or something. Yeah.
Absolutely. They've done Love Her All I Can, but it was She on that album. And Skid Row did Come On and Love Me. I'm sorry. I think.
Oh, yes.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only reason I know that is because we just talked about it not too long ago on another podcast. And Charlie said, no, it was She. There
you go. Somebody else said Love Her All I Can?
Yes, they did actually. Yep.
Okay. So, guys, please, you have to get this album. I'm going to say this. I haven't said this year yet. So, Joe, you got to understand how important this is. Klassik78 is Rock Shop approved. Get this album. You will not be disappointed. It will take you right back. Now, real quick, before we get into the last part of your career. Favorite 70s Kiss album, Joe?
I've pondered.
Don't say they're all. Please, just pick one.
Pondered that a lot. Boy, I'd probably have to say. Boy, I don't know, man. Alive 2 is pretty awesome.
All right, Alive. We'll go Alive 2. All right, favorite 8. I want you to give me 80s, 90s, and the last 2000. Just 3 more albums. Rattle them off.
Okay, for the 80s, I would say Crazy Nights.
Awesome. Mine too.
And then for the 90s, as far as Kiss records, I'm going to say Alive 3. I love the production. I love the playing. I love Eric Singer. Eric Singer and Bruce are on fire on that record. So
when they came out with Creatures of the Night, when they opened with that song is crazy.
Oh, amazing. And a lot of people like the Monster album and Sonic Boom. I like a few tracks on it, but I'm just not, they don't really do much.
I have to say Sonic Boom out of the 2. But I'm sorry. I told Joey Casada this a couple weeks ago. How could they end their fucking career with Monster? I don't get it. I don't get it. How could they end their career with Monster? At least release a new album with the 4 original members. If you don't want to tour, don't tour. But at least give us something. or at least give us a song or one or
song,
two songs
yeah.
or something.
Yeah, I mean,
They
don't
gotta
to
have
cut a whole
something.
record. I know. I just don't understand it.
I mean, even if they want you to come and sing, get you to sing on
it. Yeah, I doubt that'll happen, but you know, I think you're right though. I think you have a good point that Monster. Monster isn't an absolutely horrible album by any means, but it's there's certain albums that have I'm not crazy about the sound quality. I know that's one big part of it. You could tell it's very, I don't know, squashed sounding, and that's saying a lot because Asylum's another one of my favorite 80s albums, and that's very squashed. But I could listen to it all day.
Right.
Very compressed, very compressed, very processed.
But yeah, so I mean, all right, so we'll agree to disagree that Sonic Boom was an okay album. I thought Sonic Boom was the album they had to do at the time in 2008. But let's talk about this last part of your career, which I think is a little crazy because I can't see you doing it. But listen, you do it very well. I got to tell you that. The songs that I've heard. Joe McGinnis, country artist.
Yeah, it's very true. This is the first show that I've talked about this on because a lot of them don't even know because I kind of
we do our research here, Joe.
I could tell.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like basically the whole thing started as I came from a family that played lots and lots of country music. My uncles, aunts, they all had a family band, and my mother was the lead singer, and they did country, and so that's kind of in my
realm
DNA. Yeah, it's in my DNA and kind of in my blood. So like I said earlier, I try to make my own rules. So just because someone could label me as a shred guitarist or a Paul Stanley impersonator, whatever you want to say, at the heart of it, there's a musician that does things for passion, and writes music. And, I've had some of those songs, some of my country songs on the charts too, which is cool. And we've opened for people and done some cool, independent gigs, and, we've done well at that. But, it's great because, it's nice to have the best of both worlds and be able to do, whatever I please. And it's, I don't know how long I'll do either, maybe next year I'll decide, I want to do country full time, or awesome. Maybe I'll, you just don't know. Life takes you in crazy places, but, I'm glad that you brought it up because it hasn't been talked about very much.
I'll bring it up, but I want to ask one last question, which I forgot to ask you about Klassik78, and then we're done. Peter vocals. Do we have somebody to do a Peter vocal?
Well, I'm going to put a little announcement out there that we are looking. So so we basically attempted it on the first record, side one, and we want to keep the bar
so high
at a certain level that if it doesn't resemble it, to the threshold that we hope, then we'd rather not do it at all. And we're not disrespecting Peter by not putting Peter songs.
You just haven't found somebody,
because we love Peter. In fact, it speaks to how unique Peter is and how his voice is probably one of the best that the band's ever had. If not the best. As far as his tone and everything.
Right.
But it's hard to find. It's like a diamond in the rough. So hopefully someone out there comes forward. I've been giving Charlie Benante a hard time, saying I could hear that raspiness in his voice, and I said, I know you're holding out on us. And
you think so?
You never know.
Does he have a 35 Chevy on a 55 frame?
He dropped out of school when he was 22.
Can't even spell his name. My favorite Peter song of all time.
Oh, that's a great one. We can go back and forth with the
yeah. What can I do to satisfy you, Joe? We got to go. How do you like that? Anyway, everyone, go get Klassik78 Phantoms, side 1 and 2 of the other 2 albums. Go and see Kuarantine May 28th at the Creatures Fest. I mean, this guy's got it. And if you want to hear Paul Stanley the way Paul Stanley used to sing, listen to Joe McGinnis on these albums. And I love Paul Stanley. I love Kiss as a band. But, Paul, some of his vocals now are harder to do. So we have these guys. sort of like taking over the reins, and we got to support him. You can get his album on iTunes, Amazon, and it's going to be available on vinyl soon. Go and visit him at joemcginnis.com. I'll put his link up on the interview, and we look forward to a lot more stuff from Joe. All right, Joe, thank you very much for coming on the show. Check your messenger. I'm going to message you in a minute.
Sounds great. Thanks for having me.
Anytime, Joe. Take care of yourself. Thank you. Bye now.
Likewise.